welcome back to Screen Queen Stream. By this point, you all know me. I'm Jessica Cameron, and you probably know my dog Solomon. And if you don't know who Gigi Saul Guerrero is, then what rock have you been living under? That's right. My guest today is the frequently requested on this channel, the very talented, multi-dimensional, wonderful human being that is Miss Gigi.
Oh, thank you. You should introduce me all the time.
I would be so honored. I not only am I blessed to call you a friend, but I'm also a fan. And I quite frankly love your work, and I've loved your work for many, many years. I think I first became a fan of yours in 2014, where it was El
Gigante.
I knew I was going to mispronounce it, so thank you so very much for saving me from that mispronunciation.
I got you. Anything Latino, I got you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I'm like Canadian clear white, and I will totally mess that up.
Well, you're going to have my back.
Yes.
When I drink, my accent gets really strong, and I know she's going to help me out. Gigi, that's not how you say it. Get it? That's not how you say it. So I know you're going to help me out.
Absolutely.
Good.
So I wanted to have you on here because obviously a woman in horror, I think we need to promote more of them. I love the fact that you are not only really, really talented in front of the camera, but also behind the camera, which I think is such a really, really exciting aspect of 2009, that we can be these multidimensional / skilled women. You know,
thank you.
You're no longer just like, you're not just an actress, you're everything. And for those of you who don't know, Gigi directs, you produce, you act, you do voiceovers. Do you write? I think you write.
And I write, yeah.
I don't know how, I know like I know you don't always officially take writing credit, but I do know that you write.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been mostly co-writing with amazing and talented writer Shane McKenzie with pretty much all my stuff, and then just recently co-wrote again for my first feature. So writing is fun. I love it. I think, you know what, I'm telling you, if money is a struggle, or if you don't really have a big team, like, take on as many jobs as you can, and you really just grow. You know, you grow and you get to learn every single position, and you just have full control, which, baby, you will lose that soon. So if you have full control now, take it.
But I think it's also great because it helps to bring your vision to life.
Yeah.
The more things that you're doing, the less you have to manage other people to do it the way that you want.
100%.
You know?
And it's important, I think, for anybody that wants to be a director, it's really good to just do as many of the positions as possible, because you want to know where everybody's coming from. So when you do have a bigger team, you know, like, I know what they're doing, and it's an easy way to just have conversations and know exactly what your vision is. So.
And I also think it's great when you do more than one thing, because you can get on other film sets and learn how other sets work doing various things, right? Because obviously I think probably getting hired as a director is one of the hardest things to do. But you can always produce your friend's short. You can co-write another project. You could do things like that where it's like you're not like in one of the highest positions, and sort of benefit from watching other people work and how they function and what works and what doesn't, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know, I always say that, like, if you can get on a film set and just pay attention with a neutral observation, you know, don't assume everything's a good choice, don't assume it's a bad choice, just watch. And you'll see, like, oh shit, that was not good, that was a bad choice, or oh, that was really brilliant how they did that and they got that to work, or 100%. You know, they lost their location and here's how they handled it, and that either was great or tragic.
Like, honestly, I've learned a lot of my skills through just being on other people's sets, and even just volunteering and helping, even with the smallest position. You know, one of my favorite things that a lot of people don't know, I really like to boom up. Really? I'm actually really good at it. You should see my skills, like my boom up skills are legit, okay? They're sneaky like a true Mexican. Like, you will not even know that I'm there hiding, getting the best freaking sound. But for real.
I mean, careful, I can put you totally to work.
Okay, call me. No, but I learned a lot through just being on other people's sets, and even through acting, and like yourself as an actress. We're observant, and we watch how other directors are, and I've learned a lot of, like, okay, I'm not doing that, check mark, or wow, that was really cool. I wanna take that thing that he or she did, and I recommend it.
So
I
do
really
I.
recommend it. Yeah.
And it's funny because like I know so many people always I find when they want to be filmmakers or directors or producers, they always want to jump to that like end result. And I feel like even if you luck out and you're able to do that, I personally think it doesn't serve you becoming the best that you can be in that role.
Yeah.
Because I think like you need to see other people do really well, and you need to see the other people fuck up, and it's also a nice benefit when it's not financially hitting your bottom line.
You're so eloquent, and you see other people fuck up.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on.
But it's true. It's true. It's true. It's true, man. Like, do it, guys. Pretty much. That's the message here. So.
Yeah. Now let's talk about your start. I know that you are Mexican Canadian by heritage.
Mexicanadian.
How do you spell that?
You were saying.
I was saying. So I honestly don't know. Were you born in Mexico or were you born in Canada?
I was born in Mexico. I'm like not Canadian at all.
Oh well, I mean, but you live there now.
But I live there now, so that's why I like to say Mexicanadian.
So
See, it
when
sounds
did you
good.
move to Canada?
I moved to Canada like in my early teens, which is actually one of the reasons why I made that show La Quinceañera, which means a 15-year-old, is that's a big Mexican celebration. And that's one of the inspirations for La Quinceañera that we made for Warner Brothers, because I never got to have a quinceañera.
Why not?
Well, I was too shy. I didn't have enough friends. I didn't really speak English that good. Like, you know, I just was like in Canada, and I'm like, I don't think anybody's gonna understand my 15th birthday party with a giant Mexican dress, like big party. Like, I really didn't want one. I was too scared. But it's okay. It inspired a really cool, gory show. So, but yeah, I moved there at that time, and I mean, I've been very blessed to have moved to Canada. It's such a beautiful country. And Vancouver, you're a party. I'm telling you right now, you're awesome.
I love Vancouver.
Yeah.
Seriously, some of the most amazing people and just spectacular places to visit. Like,
Yeah.
And the food's really great too.
The food's great. I mean, living here now in LA the past 4 months, it's really intense competition with Vancouver food and LA food. I'm like, I don't know which one's better, but it's pretty good. Actually, LA has really good Mexican food, which Vancouver lacks. You suck.
True, but you also have your parents.
And yes, I love my parents. And that's why everybody's over at my house, because every day is Mexican food, which is another reason why I still live at home. I don't pay rent, guys, and I eat legit Mexican food every day. I mean, I wouldn't move out, would you?
No, I want to move in.
Oh, yes, well, you
I
got
like
an
the
extra
top
bedroom, you come on in.
Don't even but also like,
I love fighting Rainer on that. He's there every day,
Is he?
eating our food every day.
Well,
He's
I
there
follow
right now.
your dad on Instagram, and I see you sharing a lot of like your parents' stuff. And your parents just seem like the biggest party. I'm not gonna lie. The next time I'm in Vancouver, love you. I'll be like, hey Gigi, can I come over? I'm gonna do like a follow-up interview, and we're not even gonna let you talk. It's all just gonna be your mom and dad.
Dude, since I've left, I have seen all my friends hang out with my parents. They're partying, they're doing like St. Patrick's Day. People are over at my house for the Super Bowl. I'm like, what is going on? And like my dad's getting drunk with all my friends, but
Oh, I know.
yeah.
I saw them doing shots, and I was like, these are the parents to have.
Yes.
And they cook for you, and they do laundry, and they're just thrilled about it. Like, that's something like it's not a part of like my Canadian culture. Like, I didn't know people that lived at home, but it's Mexican culture. That's very common.
Yeah, oh, it's very common. We pretty much, we do like a cycle. So you're basically born, you get raised, and once you're old enough, they ask, like families will not let you leave. And if you move out to like a school or something, they will move next door and make sure you're okay. Then you move out for just a little bit, get married, have kids, parents move in now. Now you gotta take care of everybody, and it's a cycle. Like literally, it just keeps going and going.
So what you're saying is they're likely going to move here eventually.
Pretty much, if I move to LA, they're gonna move next door. I know already it's going to happen.
So now I want to put it into the universe that when you get a house in LA and you're here on a more permanent basis, I think instead of a housewarming party, your friends and I should all throw you a quinceañera. I probably mispronounced
That's so cool. That's
Isn't
such
that
a
like a
great
fun
idea.
idea?
I might cry. My voice cracked.
How great would that be though?
Wow. Girl, okay.
Like, we have plans.
Unique, if you're watching,
Oh,
you
yeah.
gotta prepare the best makeup yet. Like, what? That's a great idea.
Everyone.
Oh my god.
That's it for like the rest of the
for
year.
me. That's okay. You're all invited.
We'll see.
Yeah.
To be continued. I'm not sure how big the house is yet. Okay, so let's talk about your childhood. Were you always a genre fan?
No, I was not. I was very much frowned upon all things horror. Why I love horror today, I blame my mom. I blame my mom because she was so intense in not letting me watch any of it. Okay, let me rewind a little bit. I come from a very Mexican Catholic household, like very Catholic house. So my grandma and my mom, like, they just can't with anything to do with horror. You walk in our house, you're gonna see Jesus, Virgin Mary, crosses, literally everywhere. Like, we're that family that we pray every night, we go to church, all that. And also in our culture, if any of you guys are friends with Mexicans, wait, did you see how I make that lore with Mexicans? You will know we're very spiritual people and very superstitious people. Everything is the devil. Everything is the devil. So like, for my mom, everything is the devil. Everything was like, no, you can't do that. If the salt falls, pick it up and throw it over your shoulder, like before the devil comes by, like all those things. So growing up, my mom would just not at all let me watch horror. Like nothing violent. And it was actually making me really curious. Why? Why can't I see anything violent? And the most I would watch when I was really little was plastic surgeries on TV. Because I wanted to know what's up with all this blood and gore that my mom's hiding from me.
Like actual plastic surgery?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
like
graphic shit.
Okay.
Like plastic surgeries, skins.
They show that in Mexico?
Oh yeah, there's shows like
I don't think they show that in Canada. I've never seen that.
Really?
No.
Yeah. Well, okay, even in Mexico, the newspaper, like the cover of the newspaper when you're walking down the street, it'll be someone's head decapitated and things like that. Like, you know, we live, our atmosphere is so visceral in Mexico. You know, yes, there's dangerous parts of it, but also culturally is very visceral and vivid and colorful. And the way we celebrate death is different than a lot of parts in the world. We're not afraid of death. We actually cherish it and embrace it and celebrate it. You know, it's very different culture, like, which I think is why we look at all these things so spiritually and differently, and, you know, graphic things like on the newspaper, on TV. It's kind of like part of our everyday lives, unfortunately, you know. It's still an amazing country, but, you know, so for my mom, she really didn't want me to just be near any of that. But my little kid head was like, ¿Por qué, mamá? ¿Por qué? So, not only was I watching plastic surgeries, but I would love to walk down the horror aisle at Blockbuster and see all the horror covers and be like, why? Like, what's in these movies? Like, what's in these movies? So at 8 years old, I stole one. I stole a VHS at Blockbuster. Okay, well, Mexicans don't steal. We just borrow for a really long time. So I took Child's Play 2, which was the first horror film I ever
Such a classic.
seen. Classic. I took it because it was just, if any of you guys remember, the cover is Chucky with giant scissors and he's cutting like a little doll's head. Remember that? And I was like, I gotta see what this is. And I think I only saw 20 minutes of it and I was like, ay, and I took it out. I took out the VHS and I was like...
Now, didn't you think,
like, yeah.
Mexican culture, stealing is, like, as a child, is probably a bad thing? Like, were you believing, like, the devil was going to come after you or something? And
well, there was...
Pardon my ignorance, if that's, like,
no,
the
but
dumbest
there was
ever.
something sneaky about it.
Okay.
There was something sneaky, and my mom hyped it up so much of all these horror and violent things, and I needed to know, like, why? Why? And if she saw me walking down the horror aisle, she'd get mad at me. She would get mad. So, hey, if any of you guys know me and party with me, like, now that's an excuse for me to find out why. So yeah, so I saw Child's Play 2. I only saw 20 minutes of it and I got really scared. But not just scared. This is where it all started, Jess. I didn't just get scared. I was stoked to be scared. I couldn't understand that a horror movie or a movie could follow you home, like could follow you. So I kept thinking Chucky was in the room. And I couldn't understand that feeling because I was so pushed away from everything. So I was so weird. I'm the weirdest little kid. I felt Chucky was in the room. So I would go to my closet and I'd open my closet and close it hoping Chucky was going to appear. But he wasn't there.
Oh, so you were happy.
I was
scared. You were just like, hell yeah, Chucky, let's play.
Yes, I wanted to meet him. I was excited. And then I made a big deal when I turned 10 because The Exorcist came back out. Remastered, deleted scenes, recolored. And I made a big stink about it. I said to my mom, Mama, I'm going to turn a 2-digit number. I deserve to watch what I want. I'm a big girl now. Blah, blah, blah. Rant, rant, rant. I want to see The Exorcist in theaters. My mom's like, oh, no, you don't. And I said, yes, I do, Ma. Blah, blah, blah. I made such a big stink about it. And my mom's like, okay, you want to get scared? Let's go. And bring your cousin, too. My cousin and I, we were brats. We deserve to, get spanked. So she takes us to see The Exorcist. And we're so excited to go because we're big kids now. And she's like, okay, get out. I'll pick you up in 2 hours. I'm like, you're not coming? My mom's like, no, good luck. Yeah. And just drove off. I'm like, okay. Yeah, sure enough. Long story short, we came out crying. My cousin traumatized. But I came out excited crying. I wanted to meet Linda Blair that night. I remember being under the covers and covering myself, hoping she was gonna appear. That's fucked up. That's really fucked up. Can I swear?
Yeah, sure.
That's really messed up. So from there, it just all kind of escalated. I just wanted to know.
So rather than it scaring you, you were just more.
More. But I love being scared. If any of you guys know me, I love haunted houses. I love going and being just the loudest screamer. And it's a sensation that's really inspired me to make these films because I find as a filmmaker the most rewarding, and this is not me knowing yet I wanted to be a filmmaker, but when you connect all the dots, for me as a filmmaker, the most rewarding thing is hearing an audience react. So my reaction to horror movies was so impactful. I wanted to do that. I wanted to just tell stories. And growing up, I just loved telling stories, whether they were scary or whatever, just talking about stories and people's reactions is my most favorite thing still today, or telling jokes or something. But yeah, Mom, it's your fault. If I was going to say all this again, I'm just going to say it's my mom's fault. Why I love horror movies.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, gracias.
Your dad didn't care either way.
Oh no, my dad's like, yes, I'm so proud of you. That's it. He will go with the flow. And my mom's always like,
So that's around 10, you knew that you loved horror movies. How long before you knew that you wanted to be involved in the filmmaking process? And did you originally want to know that you wanted to be a filmmaker?
No, not at all. I went a whole circle. My entire childhood growing up and living in Mexico, my family and I were convinced that I wanted to be an Olympic athlete.
Really? What sport?
Yes. Swimming. I was really good at swimming. I had my little trophies and stuff. I think when I was 10 years old, 10 or 11, I was one of the fastest swimmers in Mexico City. All the kids compete and all these things. And track and field, I was really amazing at. I was convinced that I was going to do sports. When I moved to Canada, first thing I wanted to do was be in a hockey team and learn how to skate. So all high school, volleyball, hockey, and just doing all these sports that I didn't really get to do in Mexico. Yeah, it's crazy. And what changed that, I guess in high school, you need an elective.
In Canada, you need an elective.
In Canada, you need an elective, which means an extra class to move on to the next grade. And I didn't really know what to choose, so I was just I'll do theater, whatever.
In my city in Canada, you got to choose between it was theater, wood shop,
Wood shop.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I think there was
okay.
something else. So like everybody who basically didn't want to cut their fingers off were like,
Oh yeah, we had that too.
Yeah.
We had that too, and but there's a lot. There was like cooking and random electives, and all the classes were getting full because I was lazy and I should have picked it before. But then I just decided to pick theater class, drama class. Well, that's when all the sports went like this and went out the window because I didn't know I was gonna love theater. I started like being all about acting and making people laugh. I started doing all the musical shows, the one-act plays. I wanted to suddenly be a stand-up comedian. I don't know what the hell happened, but I just put all the sports aside. It became just a fun hobby, and I wanted to be the next Broadway star.
like Broadway.
Oh,
You're a
I was
singer.
like, oh yeah, I was stoked. I was ready, like, and all that jazz. Like, I was stoked. I wanted to be on Broadway and do the best musicals, but I wanted to be the funny character. Like, I got to wear a fat suit and be Mama from Chicago. I just wanted to make people laugh. And so my parents got me an agent. Long story short, I saw when I booked my first commercial, it was a Wonder Bread commercial, which I'm still hoping to find it on YouTube. But that was the first time ever that I saw lights, a crew, 3 cameras for a freaking like little bread shot. And I was like,
How
is
old
this,
were
I must have been like 15. Like it was near the time I moved to Canada. And like, I was like, is this what it takes to make a movie? You know, wow, like I needed to know everything about movies. And so then at 16, I saw the movie that changed my life. And that is Children of Men. And that movie made me want to go to film school. My sister's boyfriend at the time was going to film school, and I went to see it with them. And I came out of that theater. If none of you have seen Children of Men, like, get out of your rock, like she said earlier. Like, you need to watch this movie. And I came out of that theater feeling like shit, but like a good shit. I don't know if that makes sense. You can put like a little poop emoji right here. But I came out feeling so, like that movie got me in my heart and my soul. And I was like, humanity is insane. And my sister's boyfriend at the time, he said, I'm learning how to make movies like that in school. You can do that in school. And I said, you can learn one-ers in school? You get to learn how to make movies like that? And he's like, yeah. Decision done, bam, bam. At 16, I said, I want to be a director. I want to make movies like that. I want to make, and it reminded me of when I was a kid, of how a movie can follow you home. It doesn't have to be horror movie. It could be any kind of movie. That you, the moment you walk out of that theater, if that movie follows with you and resonates with you, that's beautiful. Like, so I just, that's where it all just happened. Children of Men. Very, very random movie, but it's...
I love that he's just so chill. He's like, you can do whatever you want, Gigi. Just give me attention. He's like every other man in LA. Y'all are thirsty, for the record. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
For the record. Now, side note, did your sister's boyfriend at the time, I'm sure she's no longer dating him, because that was a while ago.
No, she's not.
Did he ever go on to like finish film school or make a movie?
No. I have no idea where he is.
My suspicion is you've made a movie before he did.
Probably.
Which is
Sorry,
funny that
you also owe me my PlayStation back.
Oh, hell. Why don't you like sick the Mexican cartel on him?
I should.
I'm kidding. I'm being funny. People are gonna be like, that she doesn't understand.
Probably. Look at all those comments.
Cultural appropriation. All of that fun stuff. So you knew that you wanted to be a director when you were 16. Did you go to film school?
Yeah, I did. I went to Capilano University. So the campus there is called BOSA Center for Film and Animation in Vancouver, North Vancouver to be specific. amazing school. I did 5 years there, got my degree. And I know film school is kind of like people will either say yes, do it, or nah, you don't need it. I'm on the team of yes, do it if you have the opportunity. It's it helped me have a safe place to fail, really. Like, it's a safe place to practice your skills, find, social skills, because in film, as you know, it's all about working with people. It's not you by yourself. There's no such thing as one person did that movie. It's a lot of people that you gotta work with. So film school really actually gives you the advantage to learn with other students what it's like to work with other people, and people that suck too. So in film school, there's nothing to lose, really. There's nothing to lose. If your short film turned out like shit because your crew member so-and-so was lazy and didn't do the job, it's okay, because it's just for film school. So, I went in thinking I was going to make like comedies or movies like Children of Men. Like, horror had yet entered my mind.
Oh, really?
I still, not at all. Like, horror was just a fun side genre I always enjoyed growing up, but it wasn't because of film school, it was because of film school that I have the team that I have today. In film school is where I met my best friend and cinematographer, Luke Bramley. And Luke was like, okay, I gotta show you the dark side. So he introduced me to all these horror filmmakers I'd never seen before. My favorite one of them today is Rob Zombie. I had never even heard of him. And that's just one of the many he showed me. And I couldn't believe I didn't even know Robert Rodriguez. And that changed my life.
Yeah, I would think, given
that changed my life. Started reading Rebel Without a Crew, watched Mariachi, Desperado, blah, blah. And it just it started to impact me in my style and my personality and my, I really liked Robert Rodriguez because he was very Latino, but with a Tex-Mex vibe. And I was like, I can really connect with that because I'm kind of half and half, living in Canada. I'm not fully Mexican, you meet me and someone really from Mexico City, you'll notice I have a little bit of the Spanglish going on here and there. My personality is a little different. So I really resonated with Robert Rodriguez. I was like, this guy's bringing two worlds into one. I can do that. If it wasn't for Luke, I wouldn't be what I'm doing today. I wouldn't have my team Luchagor Productions. Luke was the first team member I partnered with. And we were like, let's make horror movies for the rest of our lives. And we were the only students in class doing it. And from there, we met Rainer, blah, 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 who went to our rival film school, actually. We were the first official team where it was both schools that hate each other being a team. It's really crazy, that story, but true story. And so if you're thinking of going to film school, I say do it, but you don't need it.
Well, here's my caveat. I'm always like, I think it depends on the person. Because I think if you're the person who's going to half-ass with school, I don't think you should go no matter what. No. And there just are so many people that half-ass their education. If you're going to do it, commit and do it 100%. But also, if you know you and you're not the person, even if you love it, to wake up at 10 a.m. to go to a class.
Well, that's the thing, though. I think the most important thing school gives you, no matter what you're studying, is discipline. Mm-hmm. It makes you disciplined. And if you want to be a filmmaker, hot damn, you gotta be disciplined. There is just no time to slack. No. And you know it.
Oh, completely. And also, I think the other benefit of school, that is so related to film, is you have to learn how to make it work. Inevitably, your schedule isn't great. You gotta make it work. Something goes wrong, you gotta make it work. And I feel as a filmmaker, that is such a helpful life skill. to learn. And I think schooling, I went to school for fashion design, but again, like same sort of principle, you have to figure out how to make it work, because even when you're on a set and everyone's getting paid and said they wanted to be there and sign contracts, shit is going to go wrong. Locations are going to fall through. The weather is going to change on a dime. Your location's going to get rained out. Something's going to catch on fire. Insurance is going to call you. PETA is going to show up. Like, there's going to be stuff.
It's PETA.
And you just have to, like, figure it out.
And no, it's true. It's all about, I think filmmaking is more the skill of figuring out solutions on the fly.
Yes, it's problem solving.
Problem solving. Like, it's crazy. And school really helped me anyways with that. And making just connections with other human beings. Because when you're under stress, baby, you become a monster sometimes. Like, or people just, stress can really get to people. So
when you need people to call, like, you need to be like, how to solve it. You can't always solve a problem without involving other people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to know who to call, what to do, places, people, connections. It's just so helpful.
Yeah.
So, what was the very first short you did? What was the first thing you ever made? Let's say that, because I don't know if it was a short. I was assuming it was.
Yeah, no. Wow, this takes me back to when I was like 16. Literally, my high school started doing for the first time an elective for film class, and it was really bad. We all had those mini DVs. Remember those mini DVs? And we would edit in like iMovie. Terrible. And we would just do fun little videos and stuff at school. And I made my first project, my first short film. And I basically made Kill Bill, Red Riding Hood, but Kill Bill. So I took all the score of Quentin Tarantino's film, Kill Bill. I took the entire soundtrack. And I basically made a Red Riding Hood movie starring me. Of Red Riding Hood training to kill the wolf. And we just shot in my house and like the forest, like not far from our school. And just basically did it all to the music of that movie. Like, that was the first thing I ever made. It's terribly great.
Where is it? Can we see it? Is it available?
I'm sure I have it in a hard drive somewhere. I should just post that one.
Comment down below
if you want to see that. It's ridiculous. But that was the first thing I ever did. I just picked up the camera and just said, I want to do this. Which, the beauty of today, you can literally do that. Pick up your phone and make something. Like, that's how easy it is. Like, even back then, like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that wasn't as accessible, wasn't as easy to put your work out there. So I'm just glad that, people can actually do that today and get their skill out there to the world and show their talent so much easier than when we were younger. So, yeah. I don't remember the name of the short, but we'll see. Then the next short I did that maybe a few of you have seen on YouTube. I was 19, and it's called Dead Crossing, and it's about Mexican immigrants crossing the border, but the U.S. border guards are zombies. So if you haven't seen Dead Crossing,
I feel like that's very inspired from life.
Pretty much. Yeah, so that was my first horror short. Everything, my entire family's in the movie. We had only 4 work lights. Was the first thing I ever made with Luke Bramley. And this was before we met the rest of the Luchagor team. But we made that with like $150, maybe 200. Like nothing. Free location, just my whole family's in it. Friends, and it turned out pretty great thanks to that little short. Like, little things happen. You meet new people, you do maybe 1 or 2 festivals, you meet people there, and you get some views on YouTube, some people talk about you, and that first short, for some reason, I don't know why, we don't know why, someone downloaded it and re-uploaded it, dubbed in Russian. It's the weirdest thing. And it's only one voice dubbing everybody's voice, this Russian man. And we all sound like fucking like Russian gangsters in the film. It's crazy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even be mad at that.
I was stoked. I was like, someone pirated our film. Yes. Like, I was like,
side note, don't pirate.
No, don't do that. No.
That's not going to be her reaction. It's
not anymore.
Her future.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, no.
Her first like, short
now
that she wasn't expecting to make money and didn't need to make money on. She's pro. Anything past like 2011, it's not that same reaction.
No. So I was celebrating back then, not anymore.
Sorry, way to bring the interview down, Jessica. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, so then you went on, you've made a bunch of shorts. Which are some of your favorite and why? And also, what is it about making shorts that you love?
Short films are just the best way to learn, and they're just such a challenge. Like they're actually really tough to make, because how do you tell a beginning, middle, and end, or like a full cohesive conclusion or full story in such a short amount of time? It's actually really tricky, but it's really helped me get, some of the skills that I wish it's really helped me get some of the skills that have helped me today. Like, especially as an indie filmmaker, I love shorts because you can go out there and make them. No problem. Like, you don't need that much budget. You don't need a lot of stuff. You really, really don't. If you're smart about it and you use the resources you have accessible, right around it and just keep making shorts, because you're gonna get so good at what you do. I want to underline that really quickly. Keep making shorts. I've been hard on shorts in the past, and if you've seen me at any kind of panel or something, people are always like, I really want to make a short. I'm always like, make a feature if you can. I think there is a caveat. So the reason why I say make a feature is because then at least like you could say the ROI and like what you made, and it's not a financial loss. But also, in my experience, the vast majority of people want to make like one thing and then they expect the world to open up. And I feel like, first of all, there's no guarantee that's happening in the future either. For the record, like the chance of that happening, no matter what you make, is slim to none. But I feel like, especially like with shorts, and what I love about you and your career, and I've praised you this both to your face and also to everybody else, is like you just kept going. Like you didn't make one short and rest on the laurels. You know, when I first saw the one in 2014, it was doing all the festivals. You were winning tons of awards. You weren't like, okay, cool, now you pay me all this money to do my job. You're like, no, I'm going off and making another one, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing that. And I think that that's so powerful. Oh, thank you.
Really, really great.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I think within 3.5 years, I've directed maybe about 16 or 18 shorts. That's a lot. But again, what do I have accessible for me? What is ready to go? What is trending? Can I make a viral video about that with no money? Everything. If you look at Lucha Gore Productions' portfolio, a lot of those shorts are simple viral shorts. That's it. And very few that we've set the time and make them bigger that are festival worthy. Like my most favorite is still El Gigante. That one really represents, I think, myself and the team. It's worth to add that time and learn from all the little ones that we did. And as you were saying, it's actually really hard. If you make a first feature, you don't have a guarantee to keep going from there. Like, you have to keep making a portfolio. So in my case, I decided to keep making a portfolio that is guaranteed at least to be seen. So in my case, YouTube, blah, 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 Vimeo, whatever, easy for people to see it. Festivals, for a short to get in that's actually short, easy to get in. Under 12 minutes, that is the beauty time. So 12 minutes and under is a great time for festivals to get you in. Because sometimes they lose shorts, or sometimes they just have like a little bit of a window left, and then they see a short that's shorter than that. They're like, oh, easy. Let's just play that one. Let's fill it in. And boom, you get people watching your short. With a feature, even if you post that online, chances of people sitting through the whole thing is tough. It's really tough. Chances of, no offense, your first feature with no money being fucking amazing, that's really tough. That's really tough, not maybe because it sucks or anything, but your competition against features with budget or people with more connections than you, that's already tough. Like, in my opinion, like you have to really play your cards right. So if it is a first feature, like you recommended, to just go ahead and do that, I personally would just make sure, okay, if that's what I'm gonna do, what feature can I do that is gonna get me there? With even like a short, like you just have to see what you have around you.
Oh, completely.
And just take advantage of it.
And understand like marketability and all of the across the board. Well, because the other thing that I've noticed too, and you don't do this, is so many people will like try to make a $25,000 short that they're shooting over 16 days. And I'm like, what, like, stop. Like, I think the way that you do it is much better. Because again, like, the more money, and when you throw in, like, again, like, if you're putting that much time and energy, make a feature, number one. Also, if you're getting somebody to give you $25,000, they probably don't realize that with a short, they're not getting that money back. Or it's highly unlikely. There's a few places you can sell a short, but it's highly unlikely for you to recoup a $25,000 investment. So now you get into like an investor with unrealistic expectations. And by the way, in my experience, managing an investor's expectations is like such a full-time job
Yes.
in and of itself. So again, why do that for a short? Like I love like what you do, which is like, again, like you pick a powerful, impactful short that relates to the time that you could do well for next to nothing with the team that you have, you know. But what, as far as shooting, like how do you figure out which is going to be the next project? Like what for you of all of those factors is the most prominent when you think about what you want to focus on?
I mean, honestly, like, it's just having passion. Something's gonna spark. Something's gonna inspire you, whether you see it on TV or you're walking down the street. Like, life experiences is, for me, the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, something's gonna spark, and you just have to keep your mind creative and open. And, like, all the shorts that I love, like, to answer your question earlier, which ones are my favorite? You know, why El Gigante is my favorite. I read that book, and I was like, oh, this book is amazing. You know, even moving on to other shorts, like M is for Matador. You know, what sparked that idea was I was just watching a YouTube video on bullfighting, and it really broke my heart, you know, for animal cruelty. And I was like, oh, let's make a horror short about that. And like, you know, I just love anything that is surrounding you at that moment in time. You know, one of my favorite viral shorts we've made is the black mask fail. If you haven't seen it, it's just you put that black charcoal, and you've seen it on YouTube, how a lot of people pull it out and they scream, and it's funny. And I was just watching that, and I just heard my dad literally say out loud, can you imagine if their face actually peeled off? And my face was like, thank you, Dad. Boom, story right there. And just anything that just, you know, gets to you, make it. Just anything.
And I love that you hit the beginning, middle, and end. And the other thing that I don't think I hit home enough, which I probably should be more careful, I actually think it's a very specific set of almost like micro skills. Like you have to be good at writing and good at storytelling, and then you have to be like even better at all of these things to do what people can do in 90 minutes in 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 12.
Yes.
In my opinion. Because again, it's hard. And almost always like when I read a short film, I can't tell you, I read more short scripts that are horrible than I read feature lengths. Because like usually with features, like you have more time to get to it. Even if it's not great, it still has some kind of merit or value. Mm-hmm. You know, and same with like I see a lot of films, obviously independent films, shorts and features. And again, at least with like features, you can pick out, oh well, like that character worked really well. Like there's elements you can pull out. If you're not great at doing everything, the shorter time is not going to be an asset. Almost always the case.
Yeah.
Right? Because like you have to be even better so that time is like really impactful. And I think that a lot of the time people don't think about that. And the amount of times too where I see like a moment and they try to say it's a short, I'm like, that's not a short though. Because again, like there's no beginning, middle, end. It's a moment, or it's like an element of a feature. Or like again, like when people say, well, I wanted to make a feature, but I didn't have the time, energy, or money. And it's like, okay, well, but your answer though was that you should have just made your feature rather than pulling like a scene that you were. Like if you cared enough, you would find the time, you would find the money, you know what I mean? Like figure it out and do it the best that you can, whether it be a feature or a short. And I love that your shorts all have a beginning, middle, and end. And they all have characters that I find relatable, and you could get into like sort of knowing them or understanding them very, very quickly, which I think is, again, another skill set of doing a short film.
I mean, I think even with all the shorts I've done, they all follow, if you watch Luchagor shorts, we follow the same formula. Over and over. We just throw you in the situation, bam, right there. You are in it. You immediately, again, like you don't have much time in the short, so you gotta make people sympathize like that. Yeah, that the person you're getting to know them and blah, blah, blah. No, save that for the feature. For the short, you need people like immediately, right? So we've just followed that formula and it seemed to have worked with us. I've seen people not do that and it works, but I think that's tricky. I think that's trickier, and you gotta be really smart on how you could pull that off.
As somebody who's been in front of the camera as well as behind the camera, do you have any preferences?
No, that's such a hard question. I mean, don't you think it's a hard question? Like, do you prefer in front of the camera or behind? I just think they're so different and so beautiful in like their own ways. I don't know if I have a preference. Like, right now that I just shot my first feature, it was so rewarding to work with these professional actors from the very beginning of the story to the very end and breaking it down with such pro actors. It was such a rewarding feeling to be a director, you know, and I haven't had that chance. So it almost makes me think, I wonder if now I need to experience what it's like to be an actor from a whole beginning to an end of a feature. Because I think with short films or like my one day calls on like sirens for, you know, like CW or whatever show I'm on, you know, you kind of get called in to go do the job and that's it.
But there's not a lot of like character.
No, I mean, I haven't had that in a film. I've been in features and whatnot, but again, my characters are smaller or funny or they're quick and that, like, it's that cameo, Gigi's cameo, you know. And same with voiceover, you just come in, do the work, that's it. So I wonder if that's going to change my mind into picking one or the other. Because I had never had this chance with a feature until this last one I did, and I was like, wow, directing is really for me. So I think I just have to try it out.
What's nice, I think, when you do a feature as an actor is you get all of those positives, but then also you're not responsible for anything, right? Like, as an actor, you're just responsible for yourself and your lines. Like, it's like nice to sort of be like part of all the fun. Yeah. And know, like, if anything goes wrong, it's not on you.
Well, yeah, in the technical side, not at all. Like, you as an actor, you are really, like you said, focused on just you. Which is why I think a lot of crew always say, fucking actors, because they're just focused on themselves, but they have to. They're the face of your movie, yo. They have to be in perfect, like, condition of every kind. Like, their atmosphere has to be perfect. They have to be taken like they're delicate flowers. Like, you want them to bloom, you gotta keep watering them, you know. Like, so I mean, I got a really nice experience with the last and the biggest voiceover work I've done. It was Vita for Super Monsters,
which is adorable.
Thank you. Which is coming out very soon, season 3.
You are also in the last season, and
I got introduced
on Netflix.
Yes, I got introduced in the last episode of season 2 of Super Monsters. You'll see Vita, and I worked as Vita for a good year. Like, it was a good while, like maybe 10 months. And I mean, again, those episodes are quick and there's a lot of little characters, but I got to really just be this character for a whole year and just keep recording for her. And again, she's a Mexican little character and she's so cute and my voice is like super high pitched. I loved it. I loved going to work. Like, that's such a great feeling. So I mean, yeah, it's still hard for me to choose which one I prefer, but we'll see.
Luckily,
cast me in a feature and then we'll find out.
Luckily, there's time in your schedule to do both. Barely, but you've managed it thus far.
Thus far.
Which is what really matters. But I want to circle back around to the last film that you did, because I know that it's coming out, and I really want to make sure that we give a little bit of context as far as the storyline, whatever you're allowed to say.
Yeah.
You know, and when it's going to be released, and when can people see it. So let's talk about that. I know, obviously, I'm trying to tiptoe because I don't want to say anything that shouldn't be said. So,
thank you. Well, I am so excited to announce my first feature, finally. My first feature called Culture Shock. I was very excited to get this job with Blumhouse. You know, they're responsible for many awesome horror films like Get Out, Halloween, and just a lot of cool stuff. And I'm really excited for Culture Shock to be working with them. It's gonna air on Hulu, 4th of July, on Independence Day. Has a lot to do with that. For series called Into the Dark on Hulu. So mine is basically the 10th installment, so it's the 10th feature of that series. It's crazy cool. It's basically a hybrid of a series, but they're features.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I didn't know what it was either until I looked into it.
No, it's like brand new. Like
do they all have to do with the holiday?
And every month that they throw a new installment, it has to do with that month's holiday. So they've done Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Christmas is still, I think, the most popular one. Puka, it's called. It's really crazy. And yeah, so mine is for 4th of July. And Culture Shock is bilingual too, which is the greatest news I could even like be blessed with. So basically, Culture Shock, you follow these group of Mexican immigrants that want to cross the border for a better life. You think you're watching another Sin Nombre movie. And when they get to America, little did they know that the US government is doing some other plans with the immigrants, so they experience the American dream in a different way. That's as much as I'll say. So definitely it's very current. I'm very nervous. I'm very excited. Nervous because the border crisis problems today are very real. This movie touches extremely on today's president and everything, and just, I can't wait. I cannot wait. I find these kinds of films do a lot for audiences. Like, people will walk out like, with all kinds of reactions, which again is what I love. And I just wanted to really represent Latinos for not just for like myself, my family, but in the genre. I find we don't have enough Hispanics making genre films that are not just bilingual, but that just have a lot to say of who we are and where we come from. And Culture Shock was the most amazing opportunity. So thank you, Blumhouse and Hulu, for letting me bring this one to screen. So I'm excited.
I will make sure to put the link down in the description box below, and obviously we'll be hoping to promote, and you guys should tweet, Facebook, share, all that good stuff. Your voice does matter in 2019. How you make it known to the networks and to the studio execs when you like something is you share it.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about how you jumped from shorts to the feature. And also, I want to make sure that we mention La Quinceañera. Quinceañera.
Quinceañera.
The Warner Brothers short. So how you jumped from shorts to that and then to the feature. We're going to make this really short. We'll definitely have Gigi back because we've got to get this wrapped up. But I know that everyone's wondering, how did you do that? Yes, please.
Yes. Well, to not make it, the story is not that crazy, but basically it's just, we were making a lot of shorts. We were making as much name for Luchagor as possible, and somebody, and this is why, guys, shorts or festivals is so encouraged. I encourage it for you to do it. Someone from the Warner Brothers division saw, I think it was El Gigante at a festival, and they just happened to go because they were there with a friend, and that's what did it. They were from Warner Brothers division and saw El Gigante and contacted us. From there, we didn't believe it at first. We were like, yeah, like sure, fake person, but they were real. And they basically said, what else do you have? Here's 3 ideas. One of them was La Quinceañera, which all these were, again, ideas for more shorts. La Quinceañera, we wanted to do another short called La Quinceañera, and they just loved it, picked it, we made it. And just from there, which was so unexpected, because we were trying to make El Gigante the feature, which we're still trying to make El Gigante the feature, even though we were getting no everywhere, a yes suddenly happened. You just can't give up. And we made La Quinceañera, did festivals with that, and what was really cool is that festivals were picking up on La Quinceañera, even though it's a web series. Hasn't come out yet, but even though it's a web series, festivals were asking for it all glued back to back so it could be a feature. I think that's so cool. And again, you never know who's watching. So the more you promote yourself, like you're like the queen of promoting yourself. You never know who's following you or who's watching your work.
Well, that's why I say whatever you're going to do, you have to do 100%.
You have
Which again,
to.
like, just because it's a short doesn't mean you don't have to promote it every single day for 2 years. Doesn't mean you don't have to submit it, or you shouldn't submit it to 100 festivals. Doesn't mean you shouldn't pay out of your pocket and go travel to as many of them as you can afford.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's no, like, just because. Like, if you're going to put your time and energy into doing it, make sure that it's something that you love enough to really put your heart and soul in it, in my opinion.
No, it's true. And yeah, so we showed La Quinceañera. From there, I got my agents, manager, and like my team here in LA, and people that were like, you know what? It's gonna get tough to get booked on a bigger show, but we believe in you. We love your work, your shorts. You know, all I had was just smaller stuff. I didn't have big credits. From there, Blumhouse was like, I think my third general. Not many generals at studios I've had, and in the conversation I found out that they wanted to make a Mexican border crossing story. That's really specific. So I said, have you seen my border crossing horror short? They watched it, they called me back, I pitched, and here I am today. Like, it's I still don't know what's going on. Like, I still wake up and I'm like, what's going on? But it's amazing. And again, like she said, you have to go 100%. If an opportunity arises, you just have to keep going with it. Mm-hmm. Keep going with it and just keep finding who you are as a filmmaker. Even if you're not ready right away, it's okay. But you have to be honest and you have to stay humble.
And you have to love it enough to do like 8 hours after you've worked your 10-hour day at that day job that you don't love.
You have to
but you're going to come home and you're going to stay up till 2 in the morning.
Yeah, you come home and you're still
submit to
working.
festivals, schedule your Facebook posts, do your tweeting, get on your Instagram,
It's a job.
edit your
It's a
pictures,
whole
send out your
job.
press releases. And you wake up in the morning and you go to that shitty job that you don't like and you're going to do it for 12 hours. And then you come home and you
100%.
repeat it again.
We don't all have money for insane publicists and all that jazz yet. Well, let's hope. But you know, like she said, just do it. You have the time. If you put your mind to it, you have the time. So I'm excited, guys. I really can't wait.
Now, before we get into a couple questions from the lovely Patreons, because this is a Patreon-funded show, thank you guys. That being said, what is your number one piece of advice to anybody out there wanting to make films?
I would definitely say that do not be afraid of failure. No matter where you are in the world or who you are, the biggest advice I can give is don't be afraid of failure. Use it. Whatever happens to that thing you make, finish it. And if it fails, use it as another reason to learn from it. Learn from your mistakes and just keep making stuff. Because that is the only way you're just gonna get better. But you can't be afraid of it.
True. Very true. Okay, so now we're going to get into some questions from the lovely Patreons.
Yay!
The first couple are from Terry Smith. So Terry wants to know what the status is on El Gigante, the feature, and if Luchagor, is adapting any other Shane McKenzie stories in the near future.
We have a lot of cool things with Shane McKenzie right now, which I can't say. But thanks to this Culture Shock film, my goal was to always bring my team into Hollywood a little bit, even if Culture Shock's a little smaller, these opportunities are happening. So stay tuned because there's a lot of cool things coming up with Shane, myself, and the Luchagor team. And El Gigante, that's still going to be a dream to make happen. That is nothing close to us giving up on El Gigante. It's going to happen. I have faith. That's why the short is not even online still, because we're trying to make this into a feature. So, Terry, I promise you we're working on it.
Another good one from Terry. What film had the greatest impact on you and your vision?
Like Children of Men, 100% changed my life.
From Matthew Solomon. Are there any plans for releasing Luchagor's work on DVD or Blu for us physical media lovers? He would love to see a collection of shorts, or I'm going to pronounce that wrong again. He'd definitely buy it.
That's a cool idea. We've actually been considering doing like a DVD of Luchagor compilation and just put all our stuff on it. We've been thinking about that. I might text Rainer so I don't forget.
Yeah, you definitely should.
There,
Excited.
I put a reminder. I think that's a really good idea because we've been considering it. Again, we have so many shorts.
Do you
We're
do
just
behind
putting
the
it-
scenes when you're filming the shorts?
Yeah, we have
So
everything.
you could probably
I
do
feel
like behind the scene featurettes with each of the shorts, which could also be
Probably.
really awesome.
I think that'd be really. There we go. There we
Like
go.
I would watch
Done.
that. I love behind the scenes. I think it's as much fun, if not more,
It
a lot of
is.
times in the movie.
I think we might do that. I like this idea.
We could also like film some kind of drinking game commentary, which is like
Yes!
one of the things that I love.
Yes!
You at home can play
Guys,
along.
part 2 is not gonna be this simple. Part 2, we're gonna do some.
Cocktails.
Yes!
Okay, and another question.
And Mexican food.
Hold on. Do you have any film fest or convention appearances planned for this year, especially East Coast?
Well, not yet, but I'd love to. I mean, in June, I'm going to, I just can't give too much information, but June is a big month for Culture Shock because we're going to Austin, Chicago, and a big thing here in LA for the month of June. So those are the 3 places I'll be at coming up soon. But other than that, nothing quite planned yet.
Awesome. We're going to do rapid fire as a secondary part of this, so stay tuned for that. Is there anything else you would like to leave with the audience? I'm going to link everything down below. Anything you want to say, the floor is yours.
Well, first of all, thank you, girl, for having me here. I'm excited to come back on this channel again because we're gonna do some like Mexican fiesta things, and I'm gonna teach her how to be Mexican. So you should all watch what she goes through. But guys, thank you very much for tuning in and watching. And again, if you are somebody that wants to be a filmmaker or a storyteller, just don't be afraid and tell your stories in any way, shape, or form. Whether it's just writing, whether it's you videotaping yourself, tell a story and just never give up on it because things are very, very possible, but it all takes passion, heart, and dedication. So follow me at Jorge Guerrero on Instagram or my team at Luchagor Film or Luchagor Productions. I'm everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so I have a lot of good news coming up, so stay tuned.
Bye. Oh, and also don't forget to like button down below and also subscribe, 10 billion points, if you join the Patreon.